I had everything I thought I needed: a successful career as a construction manager in Portland, a beautiful fiancée named Sophia, who I was planning to marry next spring. Even my mother Elaine, who raised me alone, seemed happy in her life. Then I discovered the unthinkable. My mother was sleeping with Trevor, my best friend since childhood. When I cut them off, Sophia secretly helped them ambush me. She betrayed me too. Before I dive into how my world collapsed, let me know where you are watching from in the comments. If my story resonates with you, hit that subscribe button to join others who have found strength in their darkest moments. Growing up in Portland was never easy after my father died when I was 8. My mother Elaine worked 2 jobs to keep us afloat. She was a receptionist during the day and waited tables at night. Despite her exhaustion, she always made time to help with my homework or attend my baseball games. Her sacrifice became my motivation. I promised myself I would make her proud and take care of her when I grew up. When I was 10, a new family moved in down the street. That was how I met Trevor. He was the same age as me, with a confident smile and an easy way of making friends. We bonded instantly over video games and baseball cards. Within weeks it felt like we had known each other forever. Trevor became a fixture at our dinner table, and my mother treated him like a second son. Throughout middle school and high school, Trevor was my rock. When bullies targeted me for my secondhand clothes, Trevor stood up for me. When my first girlfriend broke my heart at 16, Trevor stayed up all night playing video games to distract me. We shared every secret, every dream, and every failure. He was the brother I never had. After high school, I went to trade school while Trevor pursued business at the community college. I worked my way up from apprentice to foreman, and eventually became a construction manager. Trevor started his own small accounting firm. We remained close despite our busy schedules, meeting every Sunday for basketball and beers. 4 years ago, I attended my cousin Lisa's wedding. The ceremony was beautiful, but I was in a funk after ending a 2-year relationship that had gone nowhere. Then I spotted her across the reception hall. Sophia was Lisa's college roommate visiting from Seattle. She wore a blue dress that matched her eyes, and her laugh carried across the room. I normally hated dancing, but that night, I found myself asking her to dance 3 times. Sophia and I exchanged numbers, and despite the distance, we talked every night. After 3 months of long distance, she transferred to the Portland branch of her marketing company. Our relationship blossomed quickly. She was everything I had ever wanted: intelligent, kind, ambitious, and genuinely good. She laughed at my terrible jokes and pushed me to be better. 2 years later, I took Sophia hiking at Mount Hood, her favorite spot. At the summit, with the valley stretched below us, I dropped to one knee and pulled out the ring I had spent 6 months saving for. Her tearful yes was the happiest moment of my life. We set the date for the following spring, giving us plenty of time to plan. Sophia and my mother hit it off immediately. They shared a love for gardening and classic films. Soon they were meeting for lunch every week, even when I was tied up at work sites. Elaine would call Sophia for advice on modern fashion, and Sophia would ask Elaine for my childhood stories. Their bond made me feel like the luckiest man alive. My life seemed perfect. I had a thriving career, a beautiful fiancée, and a supportive mother who was finally enjoying the retirement I helped provide for her. Trevor was still my best friend, and I planned to ask him to be my best man. Everything was falling into place exactly as I had dreamed. The first sign that something was wrong came 6 months before the wedding. Trevor started acting strange around me. Our Sunday basketball games became less frequent, with Trevor claiming work commitments. When we did meet, he avoided eye contact and changed the subject whenever I mentioned my mother. I noticed other oddities too. My mother stopped asking about Trevor, when previously she had always inquired after him. Once, when I suggested inviting Trevor for dinner, Elaine became flustered and quickly changed the subject. I thought perhaps they had argued about something trivial. The strangest moment came when I drove past my mother's house one Tuesday evening. I was in the neighborhood checking on a renovation project and thought I would surprise her. I noticed Trevor's black Audi parked a block away. I found it odd, but figured he might be visiting a client nearby. I was running late for a dinner with Sophia, so I decided to visit my mother another time. These incidents multiplied over the following weeks. Trevor canceling plans last minute. My mother becoming evasive when asked about her day. Once I called her in the evening and heard Trevor's voice in the background, followed by a sudden silence as if she had moved to another room. I dismissed my growing suspicions as ridiculous. Trevor had been my friend for over 20 years. My mother was 55 years old and had never shown interest in dating after my father died. The idea of them together was absurd. I convinced myself I was imagining things and focused instead on my upcoming wedding. Everything changed on a rainy Thursday afternoon. I had a meeting with a client canceled at the last minute, leaving me with an unexpected free lunch hour. I decided to surprise my mother with takeout from her favorite Thai restaurant. I picked up pad Thai and spring rolls, then drove to her small bungalow on the east side of Portland. I still had a key, but I always knocked first out of respect for her privacy. That day I heard music playing inside, but no answer to my knock. Thinking she might not hear me over the music, I used my key and called out as I entered. The living room was empty, but I could hear sounds coming from down the hall. I walked toward her bedroom, still calling her name. The bedroom door was ajar. I pushed it open. Time seemed to stop. My mother and Trevor were in bed together. The takeout bag slipped from my hands, spilling across the floor. For a moment, no one moved or spoke. The shock on their faces mirrored my own. Trevor scrambled to cover himself. My mother clutched the sheet to her chest, her face draining of color. The sickness that rose in my throat was overwhelming. My best friend and my mother, the two people I trusted most in the world. I remember Trevor speaking first. His voice panicked. "Reg, I can explain. This is not what you think." My mother was crying. "Reginald, please. We never meant for this to happen." Their words washed over me without meaning. All I could see was the betrayal. All I could feel was rage and disgust, building inside me like a physical force. How long I managed to ask, my voice barely recognizable. They exchanged glances, confirming they had rehearsed this conversation, just not with me present. 8 months, my mother finally admitted. 8 months. While I was planning my wedding. While Trevor was helping me choose an engagement ring for Sophia. While my mother was having weekly lunches with my fiancée. 8 months of lies. Trevor stood up, pulling on his pants. "Listen, man, it just happened. We never planned it. Your mom was lonely after you moved out, and I was checking on her like you always asked me to. Do not speak to me," I said, my voice deadly calm. "Either of you." My mother approached me, reaching out. "Reginald, please. I know this is shocking, but we love each other. Love." The word was like acid. I backed away from her touch. "I am 32 years old. He is 32 years old. You changed his diapers, Mom. You helped him with homework. What is wrong with you?" I turned and walked out, ignoring their calls. I got into my truck and drove with no destination in mind. The rain matched my mood, cold and relentless. I drove for hours, eventually parking by the Willamette River to watch the water in silence. I called Sophia around dinner time. My voice broke as I told her what I had discovered. She gasped and swore, her outrage matching my pain. "Come home," she said. "I will have dinner ready. We will figure this out together." Her support was the only comfort in the storm. When I arrived home, she held me while I alternated between stunned silence and angry outbursts. She agreed it was a terrible betrayal. She called it inappropriate and disturbing. Everything I needed to hear. That night, I blocked both Trevor and my mother's numbers. I removed them from social media. I wanted to erase them from my life completely. The following morning, I emailed Trevor to tell him I no longer wanted him as my best man or at my wedding. I sent my mother a text saying I needed time and space, and she should respect that if she ever wanted a relationship with me again. They both respected my wishes for about a week. Then the messages started. My mother left voicemails daily, her voice increasingly desperate. Trevor emailed long explanations and apologies. When I continued to ignore them, they became more direct in their approaches. Trevor showed up at my construction site. I saw him from the second floor of the building and immediately left through the back exit. My mother left care packages on our porch. I donated the contents without opening her letters. She tried contacting Sophia, who initially told her that she needed to give me space. The stress affected every aspect of my life. I lost weight. I snapped at my crew. I drank more than usual. Sophia suggested I talk to someone professional, and I started seeing a therapist who specialized in family betrayal. After a month of silence, Sophia began dropping subtle hints. "Your mother called again. She sounds really broken up." Or, "Maybe someday you could hear Trevor out. Not now, but someday." I shut down these suggestions immediately. They made their choice, I would say. Now they can live with it. Our first real argument as an engaged couple happened 3 months after my discovery. Sophia suggested I was being too harsh, that family was too important to cut off completely. I questioned whether she truly understood the depth of the betrayal. We went to bed angry that night, the first of many such nights to come. The therapy was slowly helping. After 3 months, I could go a full day without thinking about them. I focused on work and wedding planning, though my heart was no longer fully in the latter. Something had changed between Sophia and me, a subtle tension neither of us acknowledged. One evening, while Sophia was in the shower, her phone lit up on the coffee table. A message notification caught my eye. "Thanks for meeting today." It meant the world to Elaine. The message was from a contact saved simply as T. I had never snooped through Sophia's phone before. We trusted each other completely, or so I thought. But something compelled me to pick it up. Her password was my birth date, an easy guess. What I found shattered whatever remained of my trust. Dozens of messages between Sophia and Trevor spanning the past 2 months. Discussions about my mother's depression, plans for meetings, strategies for bringing Reg around. Then I found the messages between Sophia and my mother. Kind words, updates about me, photos of us that my mother had missed. All sent behind my back. When Sophia emerged from the bathroom, I was sitting with her phone on the table before me. "You have been talking to them." Not a question. A statement of fact. Sophia's face registered shock, then guilt. She sat beside me, not touching. "I was trying to help," she said softly. "Your mother is in pain. Trevor is sorry. They made a terrible mistake, but cutting them off forever seems extreme." "You went behind my back," I said. "You betrayed my trust." "I was trying to help everyone heal," she insisted. "Family is too important to throw away. My parents divorced when I was 12 and they never spoke again. Do you know what that does to a child? I was trying to prevent that kind of permanent damage." "We do not have children," I reminded her. "And you are not a mediator. You are supposed to be on my side." "I am on your side," she protested. "But I am also trying to be objective. What they did was wrong, but is it unforgivable? Forever." We argued late into the night. Sophia cried. I retreated into cold silence. Eventually, we reached an uneasy truce. She promised to stop communicating with them without my knowledge. I promised to consider someday the possibility of limited contact with my mother. Not Trevor. Never Trevor. The distance between us grew over the following weeks. Small irritations became major frustrations. Wedding planning sessions ended in tense silences. We were both walking on eggshells. My 33rd birthday arrived during this strained period. Sophia suggested we go out to celebrate. Just us, she promised. At Antonio's, my favorite Italian restaurant. I agreed, hoping the evening might help bridge the growing gap between us. I arrived at the restaurant straight from work. Sophia had gone ahead to secure our reservation. The hostess led me through the restaurant to a private corner. As we approached, I saw not just Sophia at the table, but my mother as well. The betrayal hit me like a physical blow. I stopped dead in my tracks. My mother stood, her face hopeful. "Happy birthday, Reginald." Sophia hurried toward me. "Please just give her 15 minutes. That is all she is asking." I turned to leave, but the night had one final surprise in store. Trevor appeared at the restaurant entrance, blocking my exit. He was holding a gift bag. "Reg," he said, his voice pleading, "just hear us out." I looked from face to face. My mother aged years in just months, her eyes filled with desperate hope. Trevor, my former best friend now, a stranger who had betrayed me in the worst way, and Sophia, the woman I had planned to marry who had orchestrated this ambush. You all planned this, I said, the realization sinking in. Behind my back, again. Because we love you, my mother said, moving toward me. The restaurant had gone quiet. Other diners pretended not to watch the unfolding drama. I prepared what I wanted to say. My mother continued, pulling out a small piece of paper. I know I hurt you. I know what Trevor and I did was wrong. But he makes me happy, Reginald. For the first time since your father died, I feel alive again. Trevor stepped forward. We should have told you from the beginning. That was our biggest mistake. But what we have is real man. And I miss my best friend. We can get past this for old time's sake. Sophia took my hand. They are trying, Reg. That counts for something, right? I just want to help heal the family before our wedding, so we can all move forward together. I looked at their expectant faces and felt something break inside me. Not my heart this time, but the chains of obligation and misplaced loyalty that had kept me bound to their expectations. There will be no wedding, I said quietly. Sophia's face crumpled. What? Reg, do not say that. This is just a dinner. No, I said, my voice growing stronger. This is a manipulation. All of you working together to force me into accepting something I am not ready to accept. I turned to Sophia. You chose them over me, over and over. To Trevor. You were like my brother, and you betrayed me in the most personal way possible. Finally, to my mother and you. I respected you my entire life. I took care of you. But you could not respect the one boundary I set. I placed my napkin on the table. I am done. With all of you. I walked out into the cool evening air alone, but somehow lighter than I had felt in months. I spent that night in a hotel downtown, watching the city lights and thinking about what I truly wanted from life. By morning I had clarity. I had been lacking for months. My boundaries were not unreasonable. My feelings were valid, and I deserved relationships based on respect and trust. When I returned home the next day, Sophia was waiting. Her eyes were red from crying, but I felt strangely detached. I cannot do this anymore, I told her simply. The wedding is off. Because of one dinner, she asked incredulously. You are throwing away 4 years over one dinner. No, I replied. Because you repeatedly chose to go behind my back. Because you prioritized their feelings over mine. Because you tried to manipulate me instead of supporting me. I went to our bedroom and retrieved the small velvet box from my drawer. I placed the engagement ring on the coffee table between us. I do not trust you anymore, I said. Without trust, we have nothing. Sophia moved between anger, tears, and bargaining. She promised to cut contact with my mother and Trevor. She suggested counseling. She reminded me of all our plans, but the damage was done. Sometimes a broken thing cannot be fixed. It took 2 weeks to disentangle our lives. I found an apartment across town and moved out on a rainy Saturday, much like the day my life had first fallen apart. My next step was to address the situation with my mother. I wrote her an email, carefully outlining my feelings and my boundaries. I told her I needed at least 6 months of complete space. I explained that her relationship with Trevor had consequences, including a changed relationship with me. I left the door open a crack, suggesting that after 6 months we might try a carefully mediated conversation. Her response was predictably emotional. She called me a dozen times after receiving the email. She showed up at my new apartment once, but I refused to answer the door. Eventually, she sent a tearful voice message, agreeing to respect my terms. Trevor was more persistent. He sent lengthy emails analyzing our friendship and his relationship with my mother. He suggested meeting for coffee to clear the air. After ignoring him for weeks, I finally agreed, if only to achieve closure. We met at a neutral coffee shop downtown. He arrived early already, nursing a coffee when I walked in. The sight of him still triggered anger, but it was duller now, more controlled. "Thank you for coming," he said as I sat down. "I am not here to reconcile," I clarified immediately. I am here to make things clear between us." I explained that our friendship was over. No amount of apologies or time would change that. He had crossed a line that could not be uncrossed. I would be civil if we encountered each other through my mother someday, but we would never again be friends. He argued at first, reminding me of our history, the good times, the ways he had been there for me. But as I remained firm, his expression gradually changed from hope to resignation. "I really do love her, you know," he said finally. "Then be good to her," I replied. "That is all I have left to say to you." A month later, I accepted a job offer in Seattle. The construction company had been trying to recruit me for over a year, and the timing now seemed perfect. A fresh start in a new city, distance from the painful memories and complicated relationships. I moved in early December, settling into a modern apartment overlooking Puget Sound. The Seattle rain felt different from Portland rain, somehow cleansing rather than dreary. I joined a support group for family estrangement, something my therapist had recommended. Hearing others' stories helped me realize I was not alone in setting difficult boundaries with family. Week by week, the rawness of my pain dulled. In the support group, I met Jordan, who had been estranged from his parents for 5 years after they rejected his career choices. We began meeting for coffee before the sessions, then for dinner afterward. His friendship came without the weight of history or expectation, refreshing in its simplicity. Professional counseling taught me tools for building trust again. I learned to recognize warning signs in relationships. I practiced expressing my needs clearly and setting boundaries without guilt. Through the winter and into spring, I rebuilt my life piece by piece. I found a local basketball league. I explored the city. I excelled at my new job. I began to envision a future that looked different from my old plans, but no less fulfilling. In April, a small envelope arrived in my mailbox. Inside was a wedding invitation. Sophia was marrying a man she had met through work. The wedding was set for June, almost exactly when ours would have been. I felt a pang of something not quite pain, more like the ghost of an old injury that aches before rain. I did not respond to the invitation, but I did send her a text, wishing her happiness. She replied with a simple, "Thank you. Some doors are meant to stay closed." In May, I had to return to Portland for a conference. During a break between sessions, I walked to a nearby coffee shop and ran directly into my mother. The shock on her face matched my own. For a moment, neither of us spoke. "Reginald," she finally said, "you look well." "So do you," I replied, and meant it. She had gained back some of the weight she had lost during our estrangement. Her eyes were clear. We exchanged cautious pleasantries. She was still with Trevor. They had moved in together. She was volunteering at the library. I told her about Seattle, my new job, the view from my apartment. We carefully avoided deeper waters. As I prepared to leave, she asked, "Will you call sometime?" I considered her question carefully. Maybe I said honestly, "Not yet, but maybe someday." The interaction left me thoughtful, but not devastated. I had survived the worst betrayal from those I trusted most. I had rebuilt my life on my own terms. I had learned that forgiving does not mean forgetting, and that moving forward does not require pretending the past did not happen. Most importantly, I had learned that self-respect must come before any relationship, that my feelings and boundaries were valid, that sometimes the healthiest response to betrayal is to walk away. Jordan texted me that evening asking how the conference was going. I smiled at his message, feeling a warm possibility I had not felt in a long time. Whatever came next, I would face it with the strength I had found in standing up for myself. Have you ever had to walk away from people you loved because they betrayed your trust? How did you rebuild your life afterward? Let me know in the comments. If this story touched you, please like and subscribe to hear more stories about finding strength through difficulty. Share with someone who might be struggling with setting boundaries in their own life. Thank you for listening, and remember that choosing yourself is not selfish. It is necessary for healing and growth.